Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. We have two meetings tonight. The first one is the Cunningham Town Board.
Hey, good
Okay.
evening.
Okay. And then that will be followed by the Urbana City Council. And for those of you who have not studied township and city government, you will notice that the town board consists of the city council members. So I'd like to call the meeting of the Cunningham Town Board to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Bowersox Johnson,
Present.
Mr. Jacobson,
Here.
Mr. Lewis,
Here.
Miss Marlin,
Here.
Mr. Roberts,
Here.
Mr. Smythe,
Here.
Miss Stevenson, Mayor Pressing.
Here. The first item is minutes of the previous meeting, February 4th, 2013.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion by Lewis, seconded by Roberts. Any additions or corrections? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next is the Committee to Verify Bills. Carol Elliott, Township Supervisor.
For the bills to be paid in March and those paid by interim check in February, we have total town fund in the amount of $43,616.74. Total general assistance fund, $62,668.18.
Okay, any questions on the bills? Dennis?
Just, is there anything unusual? Is there anything coming in that's above normal?
No.
Well, I move approval of the town fund and general assistance fund.
Second.
Motion by Dennis Roberts, seconded by Diane Marlin. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Reports of officers.
Just briefly, I did not prepare a budget report for tonight's meeting because I just couldn't get to it, but I hope to have a tentative budget draft for you at the April meeting for next year's budget, and wondered, since we got rid of the regularly scheduled budget committee meetings, do you want a budget committee meeting to talk about the budget or just take it up at the April meeting?
I think it could just be at the regular meeting.
Okay, because it'll be a tentative budget
Yeah.
anyway, and there'll be time to have more
Anybody else?
discussion.
Charlie?
Yeah, it looks like caseload is hitting new highs
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
staying there. How is that impacting the current budget?
We're actually on budget because we budgeted high. Now, if it continues at this rate, of course, next year's budget will be even higher. But we're right where we should be through 9 months of the fiscal year. Unfortunately, it would be nice to be a little under budget. We're not over budget, and the way the medical bills come in, it'll be hard to know the amount to be paid over the next 3 months because they come in spurts when we get them from the provider. But on a positive note, I believe that next in the fall, that our clients can start enrolling under Obamacare for Medicaid, and when that becomes effective from them, that's going to be a whole new ball game. We would still be paying some medical bills because I think we have up to a year to pay them once they're incurred. But that's some good news for the future, that our medical care line item may be reduced significantly once that happens.
Okay, well then, it strikes me that we should be doing a little bit of planning
Mhm.
under some scenarios,
Yes.
and figuring out what that payment is going to be, so we can make some good guesses for
Yes.
the budget for next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you. Petitions and communications. Anyone want to address the Cunningham Town Board? All right. Unfinished business, I don't think we're going to deal with that tonight. New business, discussion of the consolidated social service funding allocations. Carol.
I had this put on the agenda just to kind of follow up on the City Council's discussion starting last week, which I wasn't part of it except to send out a memo to the council to take into consideration the needs of our general assistance clients when we're allocating funds to be paid from the township budget. And then today I sent out a follow-up memo just expanding a little bit more on how general assistance works. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it. I did bring a copy tonight because we haven't talked about that a lot, about how workfare becomes an issue in all of this. And it's basically, if someone is approved for general assistance and they're able to work, we have to assign them to a work site. We're low on work sites and high on clients. And so if there is a way to at least get a few more agencies to serve as work sites through the social service application process, that would be great. Or to serve our clients in some other ways, which some of them already do. Some places aren't appropriate to send clients to workfare, but we do have a need for intensive case management, advocacy, and if agencies could commit to supplying more of that we fund, I think that would be helpful. And Brandon had asked me about my comment on a request for proposals in the future, and I was thinking more in terms of even giving an agency money to see any clients that we refer to them mostly for assessing their job readiness, mental health issues, all kinds of crisis issues that people seem to be facing, and then provide some kind of counseling or referrals, because we don't have time to do that with our clients. So that was just a thought I threw in at the end. It's not really doable, I think, this year, but it's something to consider, that some of the pool of money that we use for social service funding may be allocated towards an agency just for the purpose of serving general assistance clients in some way or another. But that's just some thoughts for next year.
Okay, Brandon?
And if you could explain that a little more. So if you get GA clients or walk-ins who clearly need a lot more referral and caseworker services than you are able to provide, where do you refer them today?
Well, often there is no place to refer them. There are places that provide these services, but it's for a lot of different people. The example would be that many of our clients need mental health counseling. Okay, now Community Elements provides that, but sometimes there's a fee for that, and that's not a medical service we can pay for. Or there is a long waiting period for someone to get in. So we may refer someone to them, but whether they are able to be seen is another issue. Even if they can't see a psychiatrist, just to get in to see some kind of case manager to help them deal with applying for disability, applying for other programs is helpful. We will help clients now apply for disability online and apply for other benefits. It usually takes a separate appointment to do that. Another huge issue, and I don't know if there is a solution for this, is the large number of ex-convicts that come to us. I mean, they have a big problem trying to find jobs, and work sites that will take them. It depends on what their past convictions might be. Like, people are reluctant to take them if they've had theft convictions. And yet, they fit into our criteria that we have to assign them somewhere, and that's a problem. So services to help ex-convicts find jobs and housing, which it may be unrealistic at this point. There have been programs in the past. I think Diane Beats used to run something at the Urban League and then at the Salvation Army to put on workshops. But, if you don't have places that are hiring ex-convicts, that's, probably not going to happen. When you have an economy where a lot of people are out of work, our clients are generally going to be at the bottom of the pool because they don't have skills. You know, a lot of people don't use computers and are aging. It's like the aging baby boomers, and they haven't had training or can't adapt, and any physical jobs they used to have, they can't do anymore. So there's a myriad of things, and often we have to just say, what you need, we can't do, and I don't know who can. Now, as far as what kind of difference it might make in their lives, if it reduces the need for general assistance, that's great, but it's also a quality of life issue, I think. So.
Okay.
Carol, I want to ask you a question. You said they couldn't qualify for mental health services, or that you can't provide it.
Right.
Will that change when they get on Medicaid?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's covered by Medicaid, which covers more in that general area than general assistance medical, and this is all written up by the state of the categories of public aid that Medicaid covers more than the
Because
general
there's
assistance
a parity
medical.
for mental health services in that law.
And then it'll depend on providers who can see them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the dental stuff. We've always paid some dental services, but finding a dentist who will take the payment is very difficult. And now they've also reduced the dental services. I think they're limited now to emergency dental services. There's no preventive. It's, you know, if the dentist deems it an emergency because you've got an infected mouth and need teeth pulled, then we pay for it, but we don't pay for anything else in terms of dental.
Charlie?
Yeah, Carol, thanks for the memo. It was actually good to review this. I hadn't thought about it or seen anything like this in many, many years.
Yeah.
So I would a request would be to send this to the incoming council members.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think for this year, and I know Diane included some aspects of what you
Right.
said in our various documents. I think it would be good to take some subset of this note here that refers to needs and put it together as a piece of information for the different agencies and just distribute it via staff to the agencies
Sure.
to see if there's something that can be done, and then to try to remind us next year to be more inclusive about this. Thank you.
Yeah. We do have somebody that represents the township at the Human Services Council meeting, and periodically she will throw out there that we need more workfare sites. So we do have ways that we can do that easily to communicate with the other agencies.
Dennis?
And when a person who's receiving general assistance has to do some work to receive the assistance, is there a guideline about how much work is required to meet that? I mean, is this part-time? Can this be part-time? Does it have to be full-time?
No, it's based on the grant level divided by minimum wage. So with the maximum grant being $243 a month, the maximum amount of hours is 29 hours a month. And various work sites will set it up maybe 3 or 4 hours every day for a certain period. They do have to schedule the hours in. They're also taking clients from the court services and other places that are requiring people to do public service work, so it's crowded. And then it does take time for them to be able to supervise staff and report back to us on hours completed. So there is, some obligation on their part that takes up time. But the sites we have now are wonderful, and they work with our clients well. We just need more of them.
Brandon?
Thanks.
I mean, to help get more, would it help for the township to reimburse some of their administrative fees at taking on this? I mean, especially if some of these are units or agencies we're already giving funding to say, you know what, we'll give you an extra $900 of funding each year to partly defer your administrative fees if you will check this box and agree to take GA clients as a work.
That might be a good question for legal. I don't know that there's anything in the statutes. Right now, we provide the transportation, and if a workers' comp issue comes up, that's covered under our township stuff. But I mean, that's something to consider, I think, and to look into.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like as part of the consolidated social service pool, if we give agencies a small bump, if they're willing to
Exactly. and
agree
that's-
to
yeah,
become a
yeah,
workforce site.
Yeah, and I think that would be a good idea.
So, on social services, are you planning the same amount as last year, or what?
For right
Roughly.
now, yes, that's what I've put in the budget, and I've just started
Okay.
with that process. So, yes, 100,000, I believe, is what it
Okay.
was.
Eric?
I know you're leaving soon, but is it in your timeline to go through our applicants and maybe indicate which of them you think are particularly appropriate for township funding?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
can
think
do that. And I mentioned a few in the memo I sent out,
Right.
but that wouldn't be difficult at all.
okay, I think that would be very helpful to us.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.